The last step in mixing is adding automation. You can create subtle changes to your mix and make it even more interesting for your audience. Keep watching to learn how to level up your next mix. Hi, I'm Trevor Dimoff. I transform musicians into songwriters at epicsongwriting.com. Watch the video all the way through and then click the description link for a written summary and bonus tips to make mixing with automation easier and faster for you. If you learn anything interesting, be sure to subscribe and ring the little bell so that you know when I release new videos. If you've been following this series on home recording of your songs, then you've already recorded your song tracks and started mixing. First by editing the tracks to clean them up, and then by mixing them with EQ, adding compression, and finally reverb. The last step before you're done mixing is finding opportunities to add changes during the song by using automation. Back in ancient times, before digital audio workstations were invented and before automation was introduced for analog recording consoles, any changes in a mix during a song were done manually while the tape rolled. I've read accounts of mixing teams planning all of the changes on a song and then playing a complicated game of Twister, trying to move faders and twist knobs in real time while the song was transferred from a multi-track tape recorder to a final stereo master tape. Any mistake and they had to start over and try again. With your DAW, you can precisely pre-program any changes and take as long as you want to get them exactly right. Before you start setting parameters, get your mix as close to done as you can. This makes adding automation easier. Then listen to the entire song a few times and choose which parameters to change and where. Keep in mind that in general, you want energy levels to feel higher on the chorus and to gradually increase towards the end of the song. Make written notes so that you don't forget important details while you're adding the automation. Once you have a plan, it's time to start adding the automation. Here's how I do it. Now let's automate the mix. We're going to add an extra dimension, some changes that go as we're listening through the song. I'm going to focus mostly on the vocals. The guitar, I played straight through. It's acoustic guitar. There's no real breaks. And in general, I built throughout the arrangement, so there's not a lot to automate there. Maybe if I wanted to, I could mess around with the gain a little bit. I'm going to focus primarily on the vocals, and I'm going to show you a little trick for choruses. On the chorus, I'm going to put a little boost on it. I've already gone through, I've made notes on what I want to do, and I'll do some of it live as well. But the big one that I'm going to do is adding some EQ to the vocals. So what I'm going to do is a teeny little boost at the fundamental. It's the lowest guitar note. If I had a bass, I'd focus on that, but there's no bass in this track. And I'm also going to put a boost in on the high end. So 1.5 decibels, 1.7 on the high end, starting at about 4,000. And I've just played around with it. That's what I liked. And 1 decibel boost in the low end. So this is going to pop the chorus. It's going to make it a little bigger. And I'm just going to add that automation wise. And there's a few ways you can automate, and there's some tricks. Don't forget to check the manual. There are some cool things going on there. The first I'm going to show you is an automation lane. So I've opened this up. It defaults to 1. So this is my EQ. I'm going to choose, PC stands for Pro Channel. So I want my Pro Channel EQ, and I'm going to enable it. I could do any of those parameters. This one is simple. It's on and off. So I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to put it off here. Now there's a couple ways to do this. One is real time. I'll show you that first. So for just a little piece of it, and I'm going to pin this open so I can see where it is. Can I move this? There. So now I can watch the master as well. So be careful with this one. This is where it gets confusing. W is write, R is read. So there's opportunities down here to engage it. Some plugins have a one where you can do that as well, just for the plugin. So this is writing right now. It's not reading. If you set it to read and there's any automation in there, it's going to start doing things without your permission. So I always turn off read anytime when we get into this. So I'm starting with it on, and you can do this in real time. You can start and stop. You can go through. And when I get to the chorus,
exotic beat. Stranger in a strange.
Now I'm going to stop it right there for the moment, and we're going to check how that worked. So here it's off. This is the node that turns it off. I can move that around manually. I can pull it back to right after the vocals cut out. I can move it around. Can also do these along the automation lane. So I can just bounce around. This is a faster way to do it once you get good at it. So here it's off and on. So we're turning it off manually. Same goes for right over here. So I'm going to pull this down. You can delete nodes, envelope. You can put the envelope doing different things. You can copy the envelope. You can delete the whole envelope. If you ever mess up something and it's just making chaos in there, delete the envelope. Don't delete the track over here because it only takes it away. You can't see it. It's not that it's not working any longer. So I'm turning it back on for the chorus. I just want to start it right at the chorus. And nodes will not crisscross. So I'm going to turn it off here as I'm coming back down. Done it again. Now, there's a node way at the end, so that's just something to be aware of if you see an odd slope. Pull that down. Another one, turn it on right there. I'm going to turn it off for the bridge so that when the chorus comes back on, it's going to pop. So this feels slow, but it's still faster than playing through the whole song. And then I leave it on till the end. So that's the automation done. Remember, disable the write and turn on the read. If you leave the write on and you touch anything as you're listening to it, it will remember that. So there's been times when and you can also just turn the lane off. You can create some interesting chaos, not always on purpose. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do, in general, what I'm looking at is I want the biggest energy at the end. So I'm going to start relatively low and over the course of the arrangement, increase it throughout. So I'm going to go to the end and loop the final chorus. And this is how I'm going to set the settings for the channel strip. The two that I'm going to play with are the doubler and the delay. So I'm going to set them first, decide what I want. I've already done the preliminary, so I know where I'm going. So it's kind of a teeny little cheat. I'm not doing this entirely in real time. I'm simplifying it so you get to watch the best parts. So always start with the 0 settings just to hear what it is. And then we're going to play the pendulum method, where I'm going to start and swoop it way to the bottom, way to the top, hear the differences, and gradually sweep back and forth until I find the position I like. So I'm just going to start with one at a time. In this case, the doubler. There's also an EQ on this one, but I've already set the EQ, and I find this one is not quite as easy to control as some of the others. So I'm going to set this. I've selected it. I'm going to set it as a loop, and I've set my time rate there. So
I need a decent cup of coffee.
So the doubler acts like chorus.
Feeling boiling me.
And wide.
I need a decent cup of coffee.
Double click to reset.
Craving quality caffeine. I need a decent cup of coffee.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it around -12 at the beginning of the song and wind up around -6. I find much louder than that, it starts to get a little bit in the way. I'm going to turn off the doubler and just listen to the delay right now. There's several settings. Sync tells it to sync to the tempo. So right now it's set to milliseconds. For something like this, it usually works better to go with a note value. It sets up a wave so that there's a regular rhythm. I'm going to try eighth note and quarter note, see how they feel. Feedback is how much of the signal comes back into it, like a delay on your guitar. So the more of that, the longer and the bigger the whole delay sound becomes. And then level is the loudness. And there's also a filter on this one, so we can set the EQ on just the delay.
I need a decent cup of coffee.
So max feedback up here.
Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee.
And way down the bottom.
Craving quality caffeine.
So 25% is the
I
default.
need a decent
How
cup
loud
of
is that compared to the
coffee.
original signal?
I need exotic beats.
effect, maybe
I need exotic.
can't hear it
I need a decent cup of coffee.
So minus 12 to me is about as loud as I want it to be.
Boiling
Double check with the doubler.
I need a decent cup of coffee.
It's even, that's a little loud.
Craving quality caffeine.
This is the reason minus 18 is the default.
I need
just the
a
filter
decent
now.
cup of coffee. I need exotic beat.
So that's just an EQ curve.
I need
where we focus
exotic beat. I need a decent cup of coffee. Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee. Craving quality caffeine. I need a decent cup of coffee. I need exotic beat. I need exotic beat.
So that's my max setting. That's where I'm going to end. So now it's a question of automation. So what I've decided is the presence will be softer at the beginning, about minus 12, and width at about 50%. I'm going to only use the delays on the choruses and the bridge, but I'm going to start with slightly less level, and I'm not going to play with the feedback very much, just the level. So I'm going to gradually increase that as the arrangement continues. So this is the loudest point, and let's set up some parameters here. Now, I've played around with this, and this one doesn't automate as easily as others plugins. It's so complicated. So what I'm going to do is set these up manually. So I want the vocal strip, and I'm going to do this in order. So the doubler, I'm going to do first go back here. So the doubler, just to keep my brain in order here, double is going to stay on the whole time. So the presence, and then the stereo. So those are just so I can keep track of what I'm doing. Then I'm going to enable the delay. That's an on-off, so that percent shows as an on rather than a percentage. And then the level for the delay. And those are the parameters that I'm going to do. So right now I'm going to set some levels. So I'm going to set a node here and here and here and move this down a teeny bit, or let's move this up. Now I can do it this way. The other fun thing about these is they move together. So where's my...
I need a decent cup of coffee. Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee. Craving quality caffeine.
So very subtly and building this
I
up through the
need
chorus.
a decent cup of coffee. I need exotic beat. I need exotic beat. I need...
And that's the end point. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and manually set all of these really quickly. So, just a sec. Did I change that? No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, this is my volume. So let's start with the delay. It's going to be on. I'm going to turn it off here. And just like I was setting the EQ with an on-off situation, it's really quick to just zoom through and set it up, just as long as you keep your eyes on the prize and make sure that you don't do this by accident in the wrong lane. I did that during the rehearsal takes. Now this is an on-off so that it doesn't change very quickly. I'm going to throw it on there for a second and just see if I like it or not. And for the bridge, I'm going to turn it off. so that when I get back to the chorus again, it pops. I'm just going to have a quick little listen to that with all the other parameters staying the same. Just see if I like it in the pre-chorus.
I need good beans so I don't self-destruct. Fill my cup, I'm feeling all used up. I need a decent cup.
Works for me. And that gives it a contrast from the previous pre-chorus. Now let's set some levels back to the beginning. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to drop it down a few decibels for this chorus. Now it's off, so it doesn't matter what I do with it here. All right, I'm at minus 18, so let's take this down a little bit. And this gives me the reading, so I'm at 27% through there. Oh, let's just let it build back. All right. Now, there's a few options here. I'm just going to move it up and double check the sound here.
I'm feeling all used up. I need a decent cup of coffee.
Okay, so that's working. You can right click and change. So a slow curve, fast curve. I find that it's hard to see. I'm just going to boost this up so you can see it better. So instead of a straight line, you have other options here as well. So I'm going to slow it and then jump, which I could have been using before. I just like adding the extra nodes. So I'm going to stick with linear. I find that works the best most of the time. All right, so that's the automation set. Most of it I set manually. With this channel strip, it's the easiest way to do it. Now, setting to read, so when I listen to it again, I can turn these off, and this also will show me some of the automation, so you can keep track of what you've done. And that's it. Just a question of going back and listening to it, make sure I like anything, any final tweaks. Next level is mastering, coming up next time. Now that you've watched me enter all the automation, I'm going to step out of the way and let you listen to the track.
I need exotic beat. Stranger in a strange town. Woke up in a musty motel bed. Eyes are crossed, I'm falling down. Need good bean to straighten out my head. Fill my cup, I'm feeling all used up. I need a decent cup of coffee. Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee. Craving quality caffeine. I need a decent cup of coffee. I need exotic beat. I need exotic beat. Diner brew tastes like water. Fast food sludge twists my guts. Instant gives me attentional disorders. I need good beans so I don't self-destruct. Fill my cup, I'm feeling all used up. I need a decent cup of coffee. Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee. Craving quality caffeine. I need a decent cup of coffee. I need exotic bean. I need exotic bean. Got to take my beans on the road with me. Squeeze my beans in my French press so I am not this ruined mess. I need a decent cup of coffee. Feeling boiling mean. I need a decent cup of coffee. Craving quality caffeine. I need a decent cup of coffee. I need exotic bean. I need exotic bean.
Now you know how to make your mixes more interesting by adding automation. Start with a plan so that you spend a minimum of time and get the results that you're listening for. Take your time and get it right. It will probably take a few mixes to figure out your own effective workflow that balances speed with precision. Check your DAW manual for keyboard shortcuts and ways to select and adjust control nodes. When you have a plan, the limitation then becomes how fast can you enter and manipulate the data points. I prefer to work directly in the automation lanes because I can enter and changes exactly when I want without having to go back and edit them. Do whatever works best for you. The next step after this is mastering your track so it's ready for release. Thanks for watching the entire video. I'm Trevor Dimmoff. I transform musicians into songwriters at epicsongwriting.com. If you learned something, like this video and then subscribe to this channel so that you know when I release new videos. If you have questions, drop a comment so that I can help you out. Once you've done that, click the link in the description for a written summary and for some bonus automation tips that I couldn't fit into this video. It will help you work these ideas into your own mixing workflow. Once you've done all that, go write a song that's worth recording.